Dajaha, Barry here, Best China Info, Barry Weiss, VVEISS. I wasn't going to make a video today. I've got a load of editing to do still, and many other projects to work on. But this came to my attention, and the more I looked at it, the more I thought, I have to look at this. So this concerns a tennis player and the New York Times, and really. This stems from the New York Times, essentially, because they took a story and they've spun it. They have, well, not only have they spun it, they have lied, absolutely outright lied about this and twisted facts to suit an agenda. And this spin, this propaganda, these lies have been picked up across the media past day or two, past few days, and it's a storm across the media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, everywhere. All the media. This is the BBC now, Human Rights Watch, some office at the UN. They're all jumping on this bandwagon, and they're all trying to use this as a political weapon. And I will explain what this is all about. Okay, so I'm going to do a screen share so I can show you a few things first. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so we're here, and here we've got I'm going to take you back a little bit. I'm going to take you back to what I first saw was various tweets. This is Tanya Dendrinos from the BBC World. We've got BBC News World. We'll look at that in a moment. There's hundreds and hundreds of tweets and Twitters and all this. The IPAC chime in, of course. The list is so long that there's so-called academics there are, and it's all centered on something that the New York Times have twisted and have lied about. Okay, so and where I started to go deeper was I often refer to these people, B at the Moon of Alabama, and their headline on this is "New York Times invents sexual assault Me Too case to blame China." The news over the last years have again and again, the news, that is the MSM, the Western mainstream media, have again and again demonstrated notorious unreliability of woke Western media. Okay, so what it centers on, okay, is a tennis player, a lady called Peng Shuai, who they say that the New York Times says made an accusation. Now, here's the lie to begin with. There's no accusation. There's no allegation. There's no accusation. And the New York Times says a sexual assault, okay? Now, I can't look at the New York Times, but I can give you a quick flash here. Hang on. Chinese tennis star accuses, blah, 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 okay? That's all the New York Times will let me see. So we have this thing, okay? So the Moon of Alabama look into this in detail, and they take it to pieces. They demolish this, okay? So you've got the New York Times rubbish. There are no accusations. There was no allegation. This came from a Weibo post, which was hastily taken down, presumably by the lady herself. And it was really that. I don't know enough about it, but all I know is this is a thing between two people which happened over a number of years. There's no accusation, there's no allegation, there's no human rights abuse here at all. The New York Times have lied about this. They've taken a mistranslation and turned it into something else. So, going on with the Moon of Alabama, okay, I will give you a link to the Moon of Alabama, and they have got full bibliography, a full listing of all the links that you might want to read. You can read the original post, then of course the media chime in, the rest of the media chime in, as if on cue, as if ready to go with this. And some people have said, well, this is a distraction, this is to deflect from other things, other issues. Maybe so, but my honest opinion is the same as with Moon of Alabama. This is being used as a weapon, and I'm going to get to the weapon and where the weapon is going to be pointed in just a moment. Okay, so the next thing is they say, well, this person made an accusation and then they disappeared. They disappeared, so something terrible must have happened, human rights, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, this person was quiet on social media for a few days. That's understandable, because when you make a post like this and you decide to take it down and there's a lot of publicity, you want to lie low. There's no big deal about this, okay? But let's look at the BBC, okay? And we'll come back to, there have been posts by CGTN explaining she's not dead, she's not disappeared, there's no human rights abuse. She sent us an email, which she also sent to, now this is something called the Women's Tennis Association, where the chief executive of the Women's Tennis Association tour, someone called Steve Simon, has called for Chinese authorities to investigate these allegations. Well, there's no allegation. So this is the thing, everything stems from the New York Times claiming there's an allegation, and there is no allegation, okay? It's been put to people like Zhao Lijian, who said this is not a diplomatic matter. There's no allegation. There's nothing to answer here. Don't ask me about this. This is rubbish. Okay, well, this is my words. This is my interpretation of what Zhao Lijian has said. This is not a diplomatic matter. This is bullshit and spin from the MSM. So, bear with me while I try and find the BBC thing, okay? This will just take a second. Excuse me, I've got so many windows open here because I've been investigating, and I'm doing this on the fly. I'm doing this as I found it, okay? BBC News World, okay, so let's have a look at the BBC.
Chinese tennis star accused a top Chinese government official of sexual assault.
Okay, bingo. Number one, BBC are lying and repeating, regurgitating like parrots, squawking away the Times' original lies. There's no allegation. Okay, let's just hear it again, okay?
2 weeks ago, a Chinese tennis star accused a top Chinese government official of sexual assault.
Wrong. The BBC are lying. So this guy here, whatever his name is, he's lying. Okay, so there's a lie number one, okay?
Peng Shuai was one of the leading doubles players in the world.
In the world, okay, the drama, okay. Now there's this, where is she, okay, so there's this other bullshit that's going on. Where is she? She's disappeared.
A screenshot of what appears to be the original post is still circulating.
No.
By the next day, all references to Peng Shuai were being...
Right, so what we also have is other tennis players. We've got this guy, whatever he's Djokovic or whatever his name is. We've got other tennis players. Serena Williams. Here you go, Serena Williams is chiming in as if on cue. Even Wimbledon. God, for fuck's sake. Right, Wimbledon, you've got other people, these Tibet network people are doing it. I've been trying to answer them and tell them to look at some facts. All these, there's hundreds of thousands of these things, people with millions of followers, you know, all doing this. A QC. Joanna Cherry QC, it is terrifying that a woman who's made an allegation, wrong again, the lie is repeated and repeated and repeated. There's a lie, there's no allegation. Sexual abuse against a powerful man now missing, blah, blah, blah. Pressure must be brought to bear on the Chinese state. Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, so here, I replied to this QC. No, what is really terrifying is a so-called QC, Joanna Cherry, who regurgitates the sensationalist anti-China lies, spin and agitprop of the New York Times and the MSM about Peng Shuai, without even checking the facts. They haven't checked the facts here, okay? They're just regurgitating this bullshit, okay? So your reputation, Joanna Cherry, QC, is in tatters because you are, I can prove, I've just proven now, you haven't checked the facts. You just regurgitated the bullshit. So there's another one. This guy is, who's he? Editor of the Bhutanese newspaper. The Bhutanese, President of Media Association of Bhutan. India's flaws, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, you have the CCP in China where an international tennis star literally disappears. Twit. Actually, no, you don't. What you have here is yet another Pavlovian parrot regurgitating sensationalist anti-China ass dribble and agitprop from the New York Times and the MSN without even checking facts. There's another one, okay? So, even Wikipedia have got this, right? Wikipedia, supposed to be an encyclopedia of knowledge. They repeat the lie. Wikipedia repeat the lie. Okay, Nuri Vitachi did a great video, bless him, down in Hong Kong. So see if I can get this to work. An innocent sportswoman disappeared. No, she had a love affair. What else does he say? The crucial fact is that she's been disappeared. No, here's a message in which she says she's alive and well. So Nuri Vitachi had to go back and hit the ball back at them. Then you've got one of the biggest stars in tennis, Martina Navratilova, says here, her words, "This is bigger than women's tennis. Bigger than tennis, bigger than sport. It's about basic human rights." Oh no, Martina, it's not. And she's saying here, now here's the clue. This is where it's going. Can't hear you, IOC. IOC being the International Olympic Committee. Okay, this is what they're talking about, and this is where they want to point the arrow. Okay. Martina Navratilova, world famous tennis star, many times Wimbledon champion. It's bigger than women's tennis. I replied to Martina, actually, no, it's not. This is yet another Pavlovian parrot regurgitating sensationalist New York Times MSM anti-China lies, spin and agitprop about Peng Shuai without checking the facts. Reputation in tatters, reality check, mate. Or game, set and match, even Martina. Go and look at moonofalabama.org 2021-11. New York, I'll give you the thing, I'll tell you here what it is. moonofalabama.org 2021-11, New York Times invents sexual assault case to blame China, HTML, hashtag more. Okay, there it is, there's the thing. Okay, so you've got the QCs, you've got the parliamentarians. Oh yeah, there was this guy, what's his name? The IPAC chimed in, of course, as you would expect them to. You've got Ian Duncan Smith, who I blocked, no surprise there. Ian Duncan Smith, who's in the IPAC. Ian Duncan Smith is chiming in with this bullshit again. Stark example of what happens when you spend your time moonlighting Ian Duncan Smith to profit from COVID, slandering China and not checking facts. So before you go spewing New York Times lies and agitprop, go and check these articles, please. Do your homework. And here's Ian Duncan Smith, currently accused of conflict of interest, they politely put it. 25,000 job, making sure a company he worked for on the quiet gets multi-billion pound contracts from the UK government from COVID, trying to profit from a pandemic. Ian Duncan Smith. This is the kind of people we're talking about. Money. It's always money. So then you have UK newspapers talking about calls to boycott the Winter Olympics. And here's the deal. This is where they're going with it. This is what they're trying to do. WA Tour, this is the Women's Tennis Association Tour, seeks Chinese inquiry into players' sexual assault accusation. There's no accusation. There's no allegation. This is a fucking lie from the New York Times. Okay, so you can see I'm getting angry, okay? Well, let's go back to the BBC for a moment here. So I posted all this on Twitter, said, look, here's the facts. Here's the Moon of Alabama. Here's how the Moon of Alabama take this to pieces, okay? The Moon of Alabama are very reliable in taking this bullshit to pieces. I refer to them often. They are usually almost always spot on with everything, and I trust them. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is Peng Shuai's tweet, email to Steve Simon, and CGTN published this, and she says, I'm fine, I'm well. I didn't make any accusation, and this is an untruth, okay? This is her own words. Now, you see, now I'm going to go back to the BBC, and what the BBC say about this, okay?
On the tour in the previous year.
Right.
Human Rights Watch notes none of that has prevented the authorities intervening.
Right.
Even people
Now,
Won in doubles. She was very well known in China. But as Human Rights Watch notes, none of that has prevented the authorities intervening.
none of that's prevented the authorities intervening. Intervening in what? There is nothing to intervene in here. Now let's listen to Sophie from Human Rights Watch. I've got a surprise for you, Sophie. Hang on just a minute. Let's listen to your bullshit first. Okay, Sophie from Human Rights Watch, okay?
even people who are influential or famous or powerful or wealthy can easily simply be taken off the grid.
Right. Sophie of Human Rights Watch says even people who are famous or powerful or wealthy can be taken off the grid, as she puts it. Well, Sophie, let's look at a case here of someone who was taken off the grid. Okay, Jamal Khashoggi, okay? Jamal Khashoggi, journalist, who was taken off the grid by Saudi Arabia, okay? And we go down here to his assassination. He was assassinated in the most brutal way in the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul. Istanbul is not a good place to be if you plan on staying alive, is it? Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman ordered Khashoggi's assassination. Okay, pretty much fact accepted. Now, even this is been publicized by many people. It's accepted as a fact that he was assassinated by the Saudi regime. Okay, now here's a surprise. Human Rights Watch Sophie and Ken. Human Rights Watch took money from Saudi businessman after documenting his coercive labor practices. The controversial gift came with the caveat that it could not be used to support LGBT advocacy in the Middle East and North Africa. So Human Rights Watch, this is after the fact, by the way, this is March 2020. This Khashoggi guy was murdered assassinated in 2018. So Human Rights Watch took money, okay, from Saudis after this. So what credibility do you have, Human Rights Watch? We're talking about taking people off the grid. The Atlantic, not known for being China friendly, say, in other words, yes, the director of Human Rights Watch Middle East Division is attempting to raise funds from Saudis, including a member of the council which oversees, on behalf of the Saudi monarchy, the imposition in the kingdom of strict Wahhabi interpretation of Islamic law. Human Rights Watch, in the pursuit of dollars, compromised its integrity. No shit, just a little bit there, okay? Again, Human Rights Watch, whitewashed right-wing massacre in Bolivia. They tried and failed ultimately to get rid of Evo Morales. They made a coup happen, and Human Rights Watch supported this. Human Rights Watch, not a great record, right? There's plenty. You can just Google it. Human Rights Watch, debating Ken Roth's judgment and leadership over controversial Saudi donation. So, you know, Sophie of Human Rights Watch. Come on.
By authorities, if what they've done has annoyed them.
Well, we now have heard from the authorities. This is China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson.
I haven't heard of the issue you raised. This is not a diplomatic question.
Right. It's not a diplomatic question. It's not a diplomatic question. It's got nothing to do with diplomacy. It's got nothing to do with politics. But because of the New York Times and the agenda that the New York Times have driven and have been told to drive, they want to make something that is not political. They want to drive this towards the Beijing Olympics. This is where it's going, okay? It's about the Beijing Olympics, okay? Let's try and move on.
And that the allegations aren't true, but there are serious Peng Shuai herself. He claims that she's fine and that the allegations aren't true.
The allegations are true or aren't true? He minces his words there a little bit, this guy. The allegations, she says in her own words, aren't true. There's no allegations, there's no case to answer there, okay? So, I think I've covered everything here. I'm just gonna make sure there's nothing else I've missed. I mean, pretty much that's it. I'll just show you another couple of these things. Oh, let me look at this one. Okay, so right, here's the BBC spinning more from Human Rights Watch. Okay, listen to this.
China at all? Do you think it would just carry on with what it's doing for Olympics? Do you think that people were to boycott unilaterally those Winter Olympics?
Right.
Big Olympic players like the US, the UK, for example, were to boycott.
Excuse me.
Even if, say, some big countries, big Olympic players like the US, the UK, for example, were to boycott unilaterally.
So now this is the BBC suggesting if the UK and the US were to boycott the Winter Olympics unilaterally, okay, here's where it's going.
Those Winter Olympics. Do you think that would deter China at all? Do you
think that would deter China at all? Deter China from what? Let's get to the spin here, okay?
It would just carry on with what it's doing regardless.
Do you think it would carry on? He's talking about China. Do you think China would carry on with what it's doing regardless? So what he's implying here is that China is doing something wrong. So out of nothing, out of a lie from the New York Times, they have created something which then they bring in Human Rights Watch, guilty of Saudi collaboration and assassination and violent massacres in Bolivia. Human Rights Watch, yeah, Sophie, Ken, okay. They bring in Human Rights Watch and then they imply that China's doing something wrong. Let's listen to some more bullshit from Sophie for a minute.
Well, I think one has to try to pull the levers that are available. Let's think about this. This is the second most powerful government in the world that sees fit to not just take an Olympic athlete off the grid, but
I can't even look at this woman's face. Jesus.
Targeting millions of Uyghur Muslims.
Right.
Disappeared everyone from artists like Ai Weiwei.
Millions of Uyghur, so it's this thing again. All right, I can't watch this. I'm going to stop the screen sharing. I cannot bear these fuckers. I'm sorry. Okay, let me stop this share and come back to you. Right, so do you understand what's happening here? The New York Times takes something, turn it into something else. They spin it, they lie, they twist facts. This is blatant lies. There's no allegation, there's no abuse, there's no sexual abuse, there's no allegation, there's no accusation, but the New York Times have turned it into a pack of lies. Go look at the Moon of Alabama article and you can read it for yourself. B proves it, okay? So then they bring in Human Rights Watch, the IPAC, the US government will no doubt jump on board, and they're pointing all this at the Beijing Winter Olympics. Yeah, it's just another attack on China, and it's been concocted with lies, it's been concocted with spin, it's been concocted with bullshit, it's all made out of nothing, okay? And it's all trying to attack China for no reason. Again, this is WMD all over again and again and again, and they keep trying, and it is truly, truly pathetic. I'm going to leave that with you. I'll show you the links. I'll leave them with you, and you can go and read it for yourself. But I'm going to get angry, so I'm going to have a cigarette and a cup of coffee. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing and hitting that like button and the notifications button. Keep coming back to us, because we will keep doing what we do as long as you support us, you know. Have a great evening and have a great rest of your week. Monday tomorrow. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you. How do I stop this recording? Okay, stop. I don't know where to stop the fucking thing. Stop video. Okay. And